Hello Castello family, welcome back. Today I'm taking a little break from our cooking videos and I'm going to give you a little tour, swapping positions with Dad for today. So today the subject is going to be wine because you know I love wine so much, and we are so fortunate to be here in Tuscany in what I refer to as the golden triangle of wine, because we are smack dab in the middle of the regions of Chianti, Brunello di Montalcino, and Vino Nobile of Montepulciano. All of you that have come here, that have been with us, have toured all three of these areas. The most fun part of our jobs is giving you recommendations for where to go, what cantinas to see, what the good wines to taste are. And so I'm happy to share with you our canteens. I'm actually standing right now where most of you come and have the breakfast buffet in the morning. You get your food, you go outside on the patio or indoors here into what were actually the historic wine cellars of the Castello. So when my dad purchased the castle in 1994, this entire ground level here was the barrel rooms for the production of Chianti, white wine, and Vinsanto by the Gori Martini family. Remember, Dad might have mentioned that the Gori Martinis had this castle in their possession for 528 years. Making wine was one of the many activities of agriculture that this feudal family was involved with. And right where I'm standing, there was one of 5 massive ancient oak barrels that housed the wine for barrel aging, for storage of the red wine Chianti. So here's a little clip of us back in 2012 taking apart these big barrels and making room for the renovation. The video is on YouTube and it's called How to Dismantle a Wine Barrel. Actually, it should be How Not to Dismantle a Wine Barrel, because it was quite dangerous. It's a funny video. Take a look.
Watch out! Watch out!
So here are the actual original labels that we found in the Castello from the Chianti that was produced by the Gori Martini family. You can actually see the beautiful Castello facing facade on there. And this was the label for the Chianti. They also made white wine and Vinsanto as well. And over here, we see actually one of the pieces of the front of that big barrel that came crashing down on us in that video I just showed you. You'll notice over there, it's marked as barrel number 3. And in red writing, we have hectoliters .42. That means 4,200 liters, equating to exactly 5,600 bottles inside of that big barrel that you saw that came crashing down. Now keep in mind that there were 5 inside this restaurant space that we now use in the old cantinas, and 5 of those barrels is a whopping 28,000 bottles. And that was just of the red wine. Now, this may not be new to all of you, but for those of you that have not been here yet, I'm going to go ahead and take you down into one of our wine cellars where we open this up before our dinners, and guests go down there and pick out a bottle to enjoy with our meal. So come with me, and I want you to notice one thing. As we go down, you'll notice that the archway is quite low. And up above here, we have a big, massive piece of travertine, okay? This is the facade of the castle resting here over this arch. And as we go down into this first cellar, we are actually walking underneath the piazza, underneath the square of the town. Come with me. You'll notice all the stone. This is roughly about 1,000 years old here. And you'll notice that there's one piece in the center that is actually much more recent. And when the comune, when the town repaved the piazza, they actually dug so deep underground that they hit our cellars. Okay, so this was open to the square up above at one point, and then it was fixed and closed up again. And of course, all the debris came crashing down, and it was a lot of work to get all that rubble out of here. Now, not everyone that comes to the Castello is a fan of drinking wine, but people are really enthralled by the history. And these bottles behind me are a testament to this castle's history. Behind me, we have the collection of the Vin Santos from the Castello, produced by the previous owners. Vin Santo is an assortment of the autochthonous white grapes of Tuscany, like Trebbiano and Malvasia Bianca, that are put on mats and turned into raisins, okay, so that the sugar content gets very high. These are then pressed and they are aged in small wooden barrels where each slat of the barrel is made from a different type of wood. We have like a chestnut piece, an oak piece, a cherry piece, and this gives all sorts of complexity to this wine that is actually kept inside this barrel. The law dictates that they must be inside these barrels for 5 years. Also, these wines are not aged in cold cellars. They're aged up in the rooftops, up above. So it's extremely hot. The wine already becomes oxidized. And because it's already oxidized, it keeps for an incredibly long period of time. Okay, these bottles behind me are from the 60s, the 70s. We actually had even found some bottles dating all the way back to the 1930s. But for obvious reason, there was no bottle here from the year 1944. And that is because in 1944, Rapolano and Serra di Rapolano were sieged by the Germans, and they actually took over the castle for 3 days, and they consumed all of the wine that was accessible to them. So Casey here is focused in on a bottle of Vin Santo from 1963. We can actually see the coat of arms of the Gori Martini family on the lead, and we have a little kind of a little star designation there. It is sweet, it is dolce, and it has about 2 stars of intensity on the sweetness. Now, not all of these bottles held up quite as well as that one we just showed you. Some have, the corks have given out. We can see some over here where we have this beautiful cellar mold. You can actually kind of pet it. It's so intense. And something very, very interesting, another historical find here at the castle. We have these little balls and chains. Okay, now we found these hidden behind the secret little wall inside of one of the rooms here. More than likely, what these are little balls and chains that date back to a spiritual movement known as the Flagellants. And the Flagellants believed that in order to repent, to be forgiven, that you actually needed to inflict pain upon yourself. So these chains would be used to whip oneself over the back and actually inflict carnal injury so that you could repent and be forgiven. So in this wine cellar, we have the bottles that are easily accessible to our guests for immediate enjoyment, and we have bottles that range from Montepulciano, a Vino Nobile and Rosso, to Brunello di Montalcino, followed to Super Tuscans and Chianti, and also some wines from Umbria and from the Piemonte region. So up above, these are not all full, these are actually empty bottles. These are special bottles that have been brought here by you, by our previous guests, and enjoyed in your company. So these all have special memories for us, decorating the top of our cellars. And I have one bottle in particular that I want to show you. This made me a true believer in the potential of Tuscan wines. This is a Brunello di Montalcino from 1977. Okay, this bottle was brought here by Dr. and Mrs. Olin that have been regulars at Salvatore's and at my Aunt Rosina's restaurant in Santa Luz. They still go there every single week. And they were the very first guests that we had here before the castle was even open. I must have been in high school at that time, and I'm thinking that this was they probably came here in about 1995, 1996. Okay, so this bottle has been sitting here since it was given to my dad as a thank you, and it absolutely blew me away. 1 year ago, we drank this bottle from 1977, 40 years old, and it was absolutely incredible. The intensity that this wine still had just blew our socks off. It was amazing. So, can these wines last that long? If they're stored properly, absolutely, you bet. And they just get better and better. Now I have something even more special for you. We worked all winter to get something ready for you to share with you this season. But unfortunately, due to the circumstances, we're gonna have to wait a little longer. And in the meantime, we're gonna give you a virtual tour. So I'm gonna take you into the oldest wine cellar, cantina, of the Castello. One that none of you have ever seen before. Now I'm gonna walk you deep underground to where we actually found all those ancient bottles of Vin Santo, the sweet dessert wine. More than likely, before this space was a wine cellar, it was more than likely used as a prison to keep the prisoners of the castle locked up, shackled up deep underground. And as we walk down there, you will see the system of arches and the actual live stone that this is carved out of. The entire weight of the castle facade and the tower, the turret that goes over the roof, is resting directly over us. So you'll notice all the arches that are holding that weight up. Come right this way. This was very unsafe, and so for many, many years we never permitted anyone to come down here because there was all the debris and rocks and excavations from the square that had perforated. Here we are. You'll notice the arches leading down. If you look right over there, we have the corner of the facade of the castle. That white stone is the actual corner of the facade. All right, and here we go. And we start actually entering the area where the slate stone that the whole castle rests upon, we see the stratification of that slate. This was one niche that was full of the Vin Santo wines here, and down below we have others. Here we have wines that were left by the previous owners. These are all sorts of assorted wines from Germany, from France. There's actually a Louis Martini Cabernet Sauvignon from Napa Valley, and the others below, up above, are from the Castello producers themselves. Actually, let's take a look at one of them. I think that we can see a little bit of remnants. 1973. This is one of the Chiantis from the Gory Martinis. And here we go into the portion that was more than likely the prison. You see that it's completely carved by hand out of the stone. When we came here in 1994 and all the way up until 2012, when we started working on the restoration of this final phase and put doors and windows in, this was actually a bat cave. We would come in here and there would be little bats hanging from the ceiling. This winter, we built this rack system out of travertine and brick, and here we house all of our reserves. So those special Brunellos, all that wine that needs time to rest, this is where it's waiting for you. So when you come next time, you'll be able to walk down here and select a special bottle to enjoy with your friends and family up top by the pool in a beautiful, overlooking a beautiful Tuscan sunset. We hope that you enjoyed our tour today, and we can't wait to see you next time.